Holly, you have got to let go of the past. You must live for today and tomorrow. Holly, I feel almost as badly. I mean, that was the only part left of Blue. I'm sorry.
Hey, come on, Rube. No tears now, all right?
I'm sorry, Robert. Talk to her. I tried to get through. I couldn't.
Well, now, where do I start? Perhaps with, and I'm sorry. Kind of pointless, I think you know that. Life goes on, Holly. There's the future to think about, and from now on, that's exactly what we're both going to concentrate on.
Why? There is no future. This changes everything.
Oh, I think you know a little bit better than that. To start with, you and I have to stay married for at least a year, and that's for your own protection. Unless, of course, you're considering taking up residency back in the United Kingdom. I don't think we both know that's out. Well, would you like to hear the progress I'm making on the case at the moment? Yeah, I'm really starting to narrow things down on this Baldwin murder. Do you know something? There are times that I envy Agatha. You know, Agatha Christie. I don't know why. Whenever she tackled a murder, she always knew the ending. I don't.
Do anything for you. Listen, right now, all I want you to do is take care of yourself. Now, do you have yourself a lawyer yet?
They appointed me one.
Good. Don't talk to Scorpio unless he's present.
Yeah, the lawyer said the same thing. He said maybe he can get the charges dropped.
Well, how could that happen?
Well, Scorpius was asking me about Susan, and I told him that she was blackmailing them.
Monica,
Hello.
Alan, wonderful of you.
Well, we've been looking forward to this.
Terrific. Let me take your coat, please.
Oh, thank you.
I always wondered how a police commissioner lived. Now I know.
In
Indeed.
quite grand style, wouldn't you say? This is lovely.
Listen, can I make you comfortable and perhaps get you a drink?
Well, I'll make myself comfortable. For me, white wine would just be fine.
Terrific. Alan?
Nothing for me, thank you, Robert.
Hold out.
We're very much aware, of course, that you've arrested Heather.
Yeah, well, I naturally assumed that insofar as that it was given so much coverage by the media.
Do you believe that she committed the murder? Thank you.
I'm holding her on suspicion. I think that should speak for itself.
Not really. Is she guilty or isn't she?
Alan, now, as a foremost physician, I would expect you to know something about the law.
You're wrong. I know very little about the law.
Alan, I think what Robert means is that it's not up to him to determine the guilt. It's up to a judge and a jury of her peers.
Right.
I didn't even know Heather had any peers.
Excuse me, that'll be Edward.
Yes.
Edward, good of you to come. Please, come in. Let me take your coat. I'm getting some wine here for Monica. Perhaps I can get you a drink as well?
I'm having nothing, Father.
I'm having a straight bourbon, no rocks, no water.
Ah, man who takes his liquor straight. I do admire that. One Kentucky bourbon coming up.
The two of you wait for me outside so we could talk before the sync position.
Now, relax. If we all just stick to our stories, we'll be fine.
Here.
Oh, Robert, you're not having anything to drink?
Well, I figured I'd take my cue from Alan. Perhaps we'll change our minds later.
I really doubt that. The hospital could call me back at any moment.
Forgive me, and don't think I'm being rude, but... Robert, why are we here?
Well, I need your judgment, Monica. Yours too, Alan. And yours, Edward.
Oh, judgment about what?
Well, you must have read about Scotty's forgery in Friday's paper.
Reporters, they're a nuisance.
Yeah, well, of late I've had cause to agree with you there. But let's get back to the issue. Let's assume that Susan found out about the forgery. I mean, that's a reasonable assumption, isn't it?
Not really. Susan's a very hard person to deceive. She was, anyway.
Oh, really? You must tell me all about that sometime.
Well, now look, if Susan discovered Scotty's forgery, that'd be a good motive for murder, wouldn't it?
Oh, absolutely.
No doubt about it.
Monica?
Yes, I agree.
I'm sure you all would. Now, turning to Heather, undoubtedly you must have read Jackie Templeton's story in today's paper.
Well, I only read the financial page. All the rest of it's trash.
Well, the trash Edward stated that Heather and Scotty were lovers.
Precisely. Now, I'm asking you, is that not also a strong motive?
Love often is.
Especially when it's clandestine.
Yes, coupled with the fact that Heather hated Susan. Well, I mean, that's not unusual. I mean, almost everybody hated Susan.
Now, to take it once more, we are all in agreement. Heather's relationship with Scotty, and as you pointed out, Monica, her hatred of Susan. As good motive?
Well, it's an open and shut case, if you ask me.
Yeah.
Scorpio, do you mind if I leave? I really do have a very impressing engagement.
Look, I'm sorry, Edward. Perhaps just one more question.
Well, certainly, we want to help.
Good, and I appreciate that. There is one other motive. One that is strong, but also one that we really haven't touched upon as yet.
What motive are you talking about now?
Blackmail. Now, care to tell me about it? Why didn't you tell me that Susan was blackmailing you when I questioned you last?
We had a very good reason.
And I'm eager to hear it, especially why she was blackmailing you.
Well, in the first place, we weren't aware that anybody knew about Susan's blackmail attempt. And inasmuch as it had absolutely nothing whatever to do with the murder, we wanted to keep it quiet.
Why?
To protect Mother.
Yes, dear Lila.
Robert, Lila, before she married Edward, had an affair with a man.
A married man.
Yes, married. And it didn't last long. It was brief, and it was a long time ago. But the bottom line was that the wife of this man found out about it and committed suicide.
And obviously, naturally, that ended the illicit affair.
Naturally. But I'm still a little puzzled here. The fact of the matter is that Lila committed no offense. How could she be blackmailed?
Well, my dear young man, my wife does have a position to maintain in this community. Not to mention the fact of her age, she's very fragile. Public knowledge of her past indiscretion could very well destroy her.
Well, I understand that. This indiscretion, who was it with? I don't think I caught the man's name.
Oh, Chesler.
Yes, Arthur Chesler. Poor Lila has felt guilty about Arthur Chesler's wife ever since she committed suicide. The shame of this whole thing would be just more than she could bear.
Well, I understand that. Incidentally, what was the price? How much was Susan asking from you?
We never knew that.
She was blackmailing you, and you never knew for how much?
Susan loved to play cat and mouse. She was supposed to tell us how much the night she was killed.
But she didn't.
Naturally, how could she? I mean, the woman was dead when we arrived.
Yes, Robert, I realize it. I think we all should have probably told you this, but as Edward said, this was a matter of family dealings that we had with Susan, and it didn't have anything to do with the murder, so we all decided it was best to keep it among ourselves.
This information regarding Lila, Chesler, and the suicide, how did Susan find it out?
Haven't got a clue.
Didn't think you would have.
Well.
Oh, Edward.
Hmm?
When Alan and Monica leave, would you mind staying behind just for a moment?
You want to talk to me alone?
I'll be brief.
Well, I'd certainly appreciate that. I'll catch up with you two later at the hospital.
Very good, Father.
Yes, you do that, Edward.
Well, it's been wonderful seeing you both.
Well, thank you. The wine was delicious, Robert. Thank you.
I've really enjoyed. We must do it again.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Well, Edward, please make yourself comfortable.
Oh, I'm always comfortable, Scorpio, thank you. Utterly relaxed at all times.
Good.
May I have another bourbon, please?
I'll make it a large.